Tremaine, he gave us some good games and was injured, and we're going to play some younger players. We're always looking to turn over the roster and improve, and so that's kind of how it came about.
Is there a heightened want to do that now that it's this late in the season, just to get those young guys in even more than before?
I wouldn't say heightened. Just a decision was made, like I said, to try and improve and play some younger guys at that position, and so we did it.
How much were injuries a factor at the very end of the decision?
Not much. Yeah.
Do you know that's going to work itself out either to Chris Jones or Kevin Peterson?
A combination of both is what it looks like.
You had said, I think it was a week or two ago, that you weren't necessarily going to go with the young guys because you wanted to win games of Final Five. What prompted this decision then to go with the young guys here?
Yeah, I think it's a number of things, but wanted to get better. Basically, wanted to play better these last four, and so we made that decision.
Since it's down to performance, what did he show you yesterday, one way or the other, that led to this decision?
It wasn't a one-game type situation.
You know, you left Kyler in the fourth quarter, and you said that there's learning experiences from the bad times and the good. How did you think he responded to that situation, you know, kind of being in a little bit of a hopeless situation in that fourth quarter, and what can, I guess, be learned going forward? What do you hope he takes from it?
He hung in there. You're a professional football player, and it's not always going to be pretty, and you have to find a way to find yourself in those moments and do your job, and that's to play quarterback at a high level. And we wanted to see him, continue to get better and continue to work, and that's why we kept him in.
You said it was probably the worst loss of his career. How do you think he bounces back?
I expect him to play a lot better. Yeah, we all hate losing. I mean, he's part of that, and we were all embarrassed by that performance in all three phases, and we expect to play a lot better this week.
Jordan Hicks said yesterday that communication is a real problem on the defensive side. How much of that is the younger players? Are they making these mistakes?
It's a combination of things. Jordan is doing a good job getting guys lined up, and at times you can tell he's getting himself in trouble trying to line everyone up, and we have to do a better job defensively of taking some of that off him.
Vance Joseph has obviously taken a lot of heat because of the way the defense is played. Why do you still have confidence in him that he's the right guy?
I see, every day at practice, I watch the tape and see what's going on and how it's supposed to be played. And, our focus right now is to get better in all three phases, and that's what we're trying to do.
But does there come a point, though, when the product on the field on game days doesn't match that?
The product, and like I said, the product in all three phases was not acceptable yesterday, and our focus starts with me to get better, and that's on me to make sure all three phases improve dramatically this week.
Has there been any discussion about possibly using Reddick as an outside linebacker instead of an inside linebacker?
There has.
I know the three running back rotation never really got off the ground yesterday. What do you have to designate a start? How are you evaluating, I guess, that position going forward?
We'll continue to see how they practice. The game got away from us, got a little funky, and we got out of some of the things we wanted to do and went back to dropping back, which is not what we want to do in those situations, and that's why you have to stay on schedule and can't get down 27-0 or whatever it was.
With the running back, so once you get down a certain point, why don't you just throw Chase or DJ in order to see what they can give you?
We're still working, with KD in our system. We want to see what he's got. He hadn't been here long. He's still learning, and we want to see what he is as a back.
When I asked about Vance, you said you see what you see in practice every day. Are guys being put in the best position to succeed, and they're just not making the plays on Sundays? I mean, are his ideas getting across to the players?
It's a combination of things, obviously, and once again, it starts with me. I've seen, day in, day out, the work that's put in and the communication and what's going on, and we have to get better on Sundays.
How do you've talked a couple times about how you need to evaluate yourself and how you're calling games and different things like that. How do you do that? Are you able to self-evaluate, or do you take somebody else's opinion? Who do you ask for, to evaluate you, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't my first year to call plays. Obviously, I've called plays for, I think, 10, 11 years now, and I've always self-evaluated, and then we use self-scout and go from there.
Has there been any point either yesterday or this season that you felt over your head?
No.
Is Jalen Thompson okay?
He's a bit banged up and will be day to day, but that's about all we got right now.
Jonathan Bullard left the game with a hamstring. What's his status right now?
It looks like he'll be out a couple weeks.
What does it do to the depth of that line?
It takes a hit, but there's some bodies we can move around, and then we'll kind of take it from there.
What's Jalen's injury?
He hit his head, so we're working through that.
You would say when Patrick came back, it would take him a few weeks to get in game shape. How would you evaluate his play now after he's had a few weeks?
Still a work in progress. I mean, some flashes here that you like, and then some things we got to get better at.
Are there other positions where you want to kind of take a look at young guys, or is that cornerback position just specific to that?
I think that position is more what younger guys have done at practice and shown and how they've performed, and want to give them an opportunity. But that's not a wholesale thing.
Sorry, how have you handle the losing personally?
How do I handle it?
How
Yeah, you just work harder. I mean, that's it. You get back, be honest with yourself and the tape, and then you work harder the next week and trying to get better. It's a challenging league, and we knew that team would come in and we'd get their best shot. And said it after the game, I didn't think we responded with the passion, intensity, effort, all those things that we've kind of become known for. They didn't show up, and that's what happens.
How much is the lack of a consistent pass rush exposing some of the flaws in the secondary?
It definitely helps if you have dominant pressure. There's no doubt that goes hand in hand.
Coach, slow starts, some of it's on the players, some of it's on the coaches. What part of a slow start is on you? What part of that can you control?
Yeah, it's always gonna fall on coaches, in my opinion. I mean, you got to have your guys ready to go, and then the professional football players got to show up and be ready to play at a high level. But I like to put those things on my shoulders and try to find ways next time to be better.
Some coaches sleep in the office. Some coaches go home at 8 or 10. What do you think more time equals more production? Like what's the equation there? How much time you put into how much better a team?
Yeah, I think it works. It's different for everybody. It's case by case basis. Some people have their routine, and I think as long as you're consistent in your approach and your routine, that's more what it's about than anything.
Kind of going off that, do you think the bye week could lead you to over-prepare in any way? Kind of early in the season where you're mentioning like cute play calling and overthinking things. Was that a factor yesterday?
It wasn't. If anything, it felt like we were out of rhythm. I know offensively. We just couldn't get a flow of the game, and I didn't call a very good game, and we didn't execute a very good game. So from that perspective, I thought we had found a good rhythm, and we definitely weren't in it yesterday, but you got to give them a lot of credit for that as well.
Is that type of feeling some of you notice, like right when you get to the stadium or when you wake up in the morning, or is it more just once the game begins?
Once the game got going, just you see things that are uncharacteristic of what we've been.
Kyler mentioned that things felt a little off for him yesterday. Did you notice that ahead of time?
Not ahead of the game. I thought we practiced fine, and but I could tell in the game it wasn't clicking like it had been. Seeing the field, quick decisions, things of that nature, that we'd come a long way in, and so we got to work hard this week to get back to where we were at.
You mentioned Reddick possibly playing outside linebacker. Is that to take advantage of maybe his pass rushing skills, which is what he showed best in college?
He was great in college at that, and that's an area that we're going to look at and see if he can help us.
When you mentioned wanting to see what Kenyon can do for running backs, is there anything that David can prove to jump back kind of to the starting position, or is it just about what Kenyon can and can't do?
That's a great question. Once again, we're evaluating all three of those guys throughout the week in practice, and going to go with the guy that we think gives us the best chance to win week in and week out. And it may be Katie, it may be Chase one week, it may be David, but it's not settled in that department.
So does your ideal running back game plan heavily feature one guy, or would you, in a perfect world, all three are utilized?
I've done it a bunch of different ways, so whatever's the most effective for us as an offense is what we want to try to get to.
What have you seen of the Steelers so far?
Very tough team, mentally tough, physically tough, defensively. Since acquiring Fitzpatrick, they've really played good defense, and they just find ways to win. They're winners. That franchise is known for that. They have their third string, free agent quarterback playing a really high level, and you can tell they're playing hard for him, and so it'll be a big challenge coming in.